we're back here again. I've got Crappie Kirby back. We're going to talk about what the crappie are doing literally basically right now, like this spawn, maybe early post-spawn time, because we're in mid-April now and going into May. Where are they located and what are they doing?
Well, I tell you what, this is a very exciting time to be fishing for crappie because basically they'll hit anything, all right? So I've even had people catch them on bare hooks, you know, or miss one on a minnow and then come in and the hook's bare. But this is a great time. The males are protecting the nests. The females are slowly moving in, and they're all aggressive and they're all hungry to do their business. So a couple of my favorite techniques, simple, just a jig underneath a bobber. I mean, and a lot of people, you know, I just was out at Hillsdale today and I saw a bunch of people and they were casting so
way
far out. And I'm like, time out. These fish are coming in. Cast right at your feet. Or better yet, cast parallel to the bank and work it back. It'll be much more effective. So I like to use a jig 2 to 3, maybe 4 feet under a bobber. I love, my favorite type of all-time fishing is throwing and reeling a spinner. I like to use these things called Fin Spin Pros. They're made by Crappie Magnets, and they've got a different variety of bodies and colors. It's very similar to a Roadrunner, you know, a TTI Blakemore Roadrunner.
Underspin type of
thing. Or even a beetle spin. Anything with a little flutter that creates a flash that'll get those fish's attention from a distance, because these fish will attack. And normally, if you catch one male, you're going to catch 20 or 30 in one particular spot because they're trying to make a nest, they're trying to bring in a female, and then they're trying to protect the nest and eat all at the same time. So it's a very exciting time. Bobber, cork, bobber minnow, bobber jig, fin spin. It's just really a cornucopia of tools to catch crappie at this time.
And then, so that kind of leads from that spawn into that, let's say the early post-spawn, like maybe heading towards next month.
Next month. Okay, so that's, you know, crappie are kind of a transitional fish. These last 3 weeks have been kind of tough as the schools have dispersed. The females have gotten heavy with eggs, so they leave. The males want to chase the females, but you'll still see those schools of underdeveloped fish. So it's confusing because you'll catch all 8 and 9 inch fish. Well, those are the fish that are staying in that particular area while the bigger fish go on to actually breed and spawn. So the transition times can get a little tricky. After the spawn, these fish are going to be famished. The males are going to stay on the nest for about 2 weeks to 3 weeks until these little eggs develop into fingerlings. And then, believe it or not, some of the males are going to eat some of those fingerlings. So they're very cannibalistic fish. That's why I like to use colors that actually look like crappie. Okay, the black and chartreuse, the green with glitter and white on it, the crappie colors. Those are excellent colors. Plus any color with a high contrast, your hot pinks, your chartreuses, anything like that is going to do real well. But the transition period from the spawn to summer is kind of interesting time because you know, they're moving. They're moving from one place to another. So there'll be a little lag in the bite. They'll be a little difficult to catch for about a week and a half. But then once that summer heat comes on, that June, July, August, those fish will line up on what they call a thermocline to stay buoyant, to stay oxygenated, and to stay in structure around that thermocline so that they can ambush bait fish. And so a lot of times if you can find depths of 17, 18 feet with brush piles or lay downs or anything that a crappie can get around or underneath to protect themselves from the sun and from predator fish like walleye and blue cat and bass, you're going to do real well. So you just got to kind of think like a crappie. And if any of you guys hunt out there, I'm a big quail hunter. Do you like to hunt?
Yeah. I grew up hunting too.
I always equate crappie as the quail of the underwater world. Everything's out to eat them. They're very vulnerable. They have to stay in a certain pattern. They have to stay around cover. They have to stay around food. And if you think like a quail, you'll definitely be easier to think like a crappie.
Yep. Because they're a schooling fish as compared to like bass, which are more what you call sedentary.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have that safety in numbers.
They do.
Kind of like bait fish, even like shad or whatever. Their numbers is what helps them try and protect each other.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've got a new series out myself called Fish Eat Live, which is kind of fun because I get to travel around the country and fish different lakes that have different crappie patterns with the best of the best on those lakes. And so I'm learning a lot about crappie because like down in Mississippi, Grenada, Sardis, Enid, Arcabutla, those destination crappie locations, the bigger crappie don't usually school. They're usually free roamers, and that's just unique to me in the way that crappie are here in Kansas. So,
well, and didn't you just get back from Tennessee, I think, didn't you?
I did. I just got back from Reelfoot Lake, the Blue Bank Resort, where I got to fish with Ronnie Capps and Steve Coleman, the all-time winningest crappie tournament anglers. They've won over $1.2 million fishing for crappie, and they just blew my mind with how easy they made it look. And it was an honor to fish with them. I learned a lot, and you can check that episode out on Fish Eat Live. We've also fished with tournament champions Tony Hughes, Jeremy Aldridge, Jeff Riddle, Kent Driscoll, who else? A great guy from Oklahoma, Brian Young, who's got the Eufaula Boys Guide Service. So if you ever get down to Eufaula, Oklahoma, or some of those Enid, or some of those Great Lakes in Oklahoma, where you can find a 3-pound crappie pretty easily, you gotta check those guys out.
Wow.
But it's been a treat.
Yeah. Well, and just so you guys know, we're going to have all of Crappie Kirby's contact information for his guide service, but also like his YouTube channel. And that way, if anybody needs to get out on the lake and find some crappie, then obviously he's your guy to go to.
Oh man, we'll have a lot of fun,
Yeah.
So I think, I've got to hang out with the Duck Dynasty guys quite a bit in these fishing adventures and become pretty decent friends with John Godwin. And he's always big on saying, it's not the fishing, it's the adventure. We're going to have a adventure on the water. And that's what it is, about making memories on the water, promoting the sport, exposing youth to the sport. And even though, COVID has been a devastating thing to America, it has gotten people outdoors, which is a good thing. Get those kids off those video screens. More and more people are starting to get back to the fun times of camping, fishing, hunting. And if maybe you want to take the kids out and teach them a few things and guarantee you that they won't be bored on the boat, or maybe you just want to learn a couple of my brush piles. I got a lot of brush piles and a lot of knowledge, and I'm one of those guides. There's all sorts of different personalities in the guide business. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And I'm kind of a giving soul. I want to spread the wealth. I want to educate everybody on as much as I can, and I won't give you any problems if I see you out the next day on my spot. 'Cause there's plenty of crappie to go around.
And speaking of giving, on May 15th, we're doing a memorial benefit tournament for a longtime friend of mine that had passed away almost 2 years ago now, and has 2 surviving sons. And so we're doing that in Steve's honor. And Crappie Kirby here has donated a guided fishing trip to the winner of our memorial tournament on May 15th at Perry Lake, which is awesome. He also even went above and beyond that, and he said that he would even donate one to the 2 surviving sons.
Yeah, we got to take those boys fishing,
That
don't you
is great,
think?
because
any sportsman kids that lose their dad, I think we owe it to give back to the community and to the youth, and to your friend too. So
well, and Steve, I mean, he was actually, Bass Pro Shops bought out Cabela's. He was a Cabela's walleye pro, touring pro. He competed all over the country. So, and he was also an avid hunter and a trapper. So he had those boys outside, hunting, fishing, trapping all the time. And so we're trying to help kind of keep that going with them because they're just such good kids.
You're doing God's work. When you approached me and you told me what we were stacked up against, I was all in. I'm like, hey, whatever you need, because I would want somebody to do that if I were to pass away.
Yep.
And I know that there's other people that think like you and me.
Yep.
And that's what the world needs more of right now in this day and age, is people that will sacrifice and give, you know, what they can, however it may be. If it's just a fishing trip, or even if it's $20 donating to the cause, or coming out and having a great time fishing in a tournament, you know, and getting to know people and getting to know that family. I think that's an honorable thing. I think you're doing God's work.
Well, and I mean, we're also doing it to raise awareness of the whole main thing is wear your PFD.
Yes.
Wear your PFD, your life vest, your personal flotation device. You know, it's going to save your life. You know, it's there for a reason. The new auto inflatables and manual inflatables, they don't take up any room. They're not hard to wear when it's boiling hot outside, and they're not hard to wear when you're all dressed up in all your stuff when it's raining or snowing.
Yeah.
They work well with it, and that's one of the things we're helping here, because, you know, my buddy Steve did pass away in a boating accident, and that was the, you know, part of the deal that we want to get that legacy out there and help promote that as well.
Great cause, great cause. Why don't you give them the details one more time?
Yep, it's on May 15th, which is Saturday. It's at Perry Lake, the Rock Creek ramp at Perry Lake. We'll be launching roughly around 6 because we got daylight savings time now. And we're only going to fish till about 1 or so, because this is more about fun. There is going to be a payout. There's going to be lots of prizes, including the ones that Crappie Kirby's donated here. But we'll do the weigh-in, give out some prizes. You know, heck, may even have, I don't know, people probably bring some hot dogs or brats or something. I don't know. But it's going to be great.
Fishing and hot dogs, man. Put me up. Sign me up.